So the weight loss mindset can be quite a complicated thing. What I want to do in this video is really simplify it so you can focus your attention on one specific characteristic, trait, habit, call it what you will, so you can get the sort of results that you can see on screen that a client of mine got, Gainer, who took off 85 pounds when she understood this simple trait and applied it. So before we dive into what that trait is, let me share with you 3 mindset myths that are possibly keeping you trapped and making you feel like a failure. So the first one is this belief that you need to be highly motivated to lose weight. And whilst there is some truth in the fact you need a certain level of motivation, the mistake I see a lot of people making, especially women over the age of 50, is they believe they need to be super motivated on a scale of 1 to 10. If 1 is not that motivated and 10 is as motivated as you can be, there's almost this belief you need to be operating at an 8, 9 or 10 consistently. And that's virtually impossible. Why? Because motivation at that level is quite draining emotionally. And if you are relying upon motivation to get you the result you want, you are going to probably crash and burn in a relatively short space of time. Or you may achieve the result you want, but then you can't keep that high level of motivation up, so you end up crashing and burning. So that's not what we want. The second myth around mindset and a trait that people believe they need is high levels of willpower. And this is a classic one. And look, whilst it's true, you could probably exhibit enough willpower today to not eat the chocolate ice cream, or not have the packet of crisps, or not drink the second glass of wine. You could definitely do that. You could definitely have enough willpower to get through today, maybe tomorrow, maybe for a whole week. But again, willpower, like motivation, it's a very expensive emotion that drains you out. So we don't want to be relying upon willpower either. And then the third one, and this is not an exhaustive list by the way, but the third one is discipline. If I could just be a little bit more disciplined, then I know I could be successful with weight loss. And again, like motivation, like willpower, discipline is a very expensive emotional mindset trait to rely upon when it comes to losing weight. So whilst all of those 3 things are required to a certain level, they're not required as the key asset in terms of mindset when it comes to being successful at weight loss. So let me share with you now what I believe is the key trait, characteristic, habit, call it what you will, that will enable you to get the sort of results that a client of mine, Gainer, got, who was able to take off 85 pounds, and other clients have taken off similar amounts and some a little bit less. That trait is consistency. Now, what do I mean by that? When I say consistency, I'm talking about consistency in the way that you think. So if you can have consistently good thoughts, you'll have consistently good feelings. If you have consistently good feelings, you'll have consistently good actions. And those actions done consistently over a period of time will get you a particular result. Now, here's what you need to understand about consistency of thought. It's a double-edged sword. If your thinking is negative, then you'll consistently feel not great, you'll consistently take the wrong actions, and you'll consistently get the results that do not get you closer to the way you want to look, feel and move. On the flip side, if the thinking is positive, then it will get you the results, because you'll feel the way, you'll act the way, and you'll get the results. Now, in terms of how much of that thinking needs to be done consistently on a percentage basis, well, if you can think positively for 51% of the time consistently, you're going to get results. So in other words, 51% of the time you're thinking in the right way. The other 49% of the time it could be, all over the place. But if 51% is the dominant thought process, over time you are going to get to where you want to get to, because that is the dominant way of thinking. Now, if you want to increase your results, then you would simply shift it from 51% maybe to 60%, maybe 70 or 80%. So the higher the percentage, the more likely it is you're going to be successful in a shorter space of time. But the thing to understand is this: you do not need to be consistent 100% of the time, because nobody is. And if you try again to be consistent 100% of the time, you are going to crash and burn. So just understand, It's not about motivation at high level, willpower or discipline. It's about consistency. And consistency actually encapsulates all of those 3 other mindset traits that are out there. So comment below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Have you got any other thoughts on this topic? And have you tried the consistency mindset? And if you have, how successful have you been?